wake up and let the weirdness begin. It's the KVJ show to start your morning. Kevin is the host, and his skin pigment is whiter than Casper the Ghost. Virginia sounds like this. Nickname Vicious Bee, so don't get her pissed. Jason talks like a spaz, and he loves to talk about Bigfoot and stats. So get ready, here we go. You're listening to 97.9 with the KVJ show.
Yeah, good morning. Happy Monday. Yeah, welcome to the KVJ show.
Gosh, I love a Monday, don't you?
Yeah, excited to be back here. Kind of in the midst of it. It's a big old 4th of July week. It's going to be an interesting week because we got 4th of July coming up on Sunday, and then people are doing vacations, all kinds of crazy stuff.
What do the Ralstons have planned?
Well, I don't know yet. We don't even have any plans for what we're doing yet.
Yeah, they were already sending off fireworks yesterday, last night by my house. People are already saying, oh, yeah.
Already begun.
Around 10:45
Yeah, we talked about that. I mean, I think we called us out a couple weeks ago in the column outs. And I even asked that question. I'm like, well, what is the standard time to stop firework activity? And clearly by 10 p.m., people were like, yeah, nothing after 10 p.m.
Well, if you haven't heard fireworks all day and it's not 4th of July and then 10:45 rolls around and you hear popping outside, you think someone's getting shot.
Yeah, that's got to be something. If you're going to set off the fireworks, you got to be out in the country. You can't do that in a residential neighborhood because that's what was happening in my neighborhood. It was the same thing, about 10:45, 11 p.m., and it was somebody that it's in the middle of a neighborhood. It was the really loud, I don't even know if they go up in the air. They just sound like somebody's let off a bomb.
Those M80s, I think.
Yes. Like, I don't even know what fun that is. Like, oh, you're not even seeing anything. You're just making a terrible amount of noise. I don't know the percentage of people that are asleep, but there's a good enough people that are asleep at 10:45 p.m.
You're right. I don't know what. It's just making noise. I don't get the excitement.
Yeah. What are we doing? Why? Where's your joy in this?
If they would have been doing fireworks all day, I wouldn't have been as surprised at 10:45.
Yeah, and I get it. You're like saying, hey, you got to wait till it's dark to let fireworks off. That's all good. That's all good. But you got a good solid. There's no one really can or should complain if it's 8:30, 9 p.m., whatever it might be. If it's 9:40, go on ahead. If it's before 10 p.m., you got a solid window. I mean, look, the city of West Palm Beach can set off all their fireworks, and they got a lot more than you do in 20 minutes.
We, as the Penningtons, always had the low-budget fireworks. My mom didn't want the big explosive stuff.
Right.
Because they were dangerous.
They are dangerous.
We got down with that worm one. You light it up, and it turns into an ash worm.
Yeah, that's still low budget. Yeah, the snakes. Yeah, whatever it is. The snake.
And then the snap poppers.
Yeah.
That's about as crazy as the Penningtons got.
Yeah, bang snaps, those things. Yeah, they're terrible.
My mom found bottle rockets in my brother's bag when he was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And you would have thought he stole 7 cars.
The scandal.
It was quite the scandal, Kevin.
The scandal. So you're going to see a lot of that going on this week. Fireworks all over the place. Probably the best and safest thing to do, though, is 4th on Flagler. It is the area's largest fireworks show over the Intercoastal coming up on Sunday. Live music on the My Amphitheater stage from 7 to 10 p.m. If you want more info, go to wpb.org/events. It is an interesting Monday here. If you're listening to Friday's show, Virginia unfortunately had to go to Kentucky, the passing of her stepmom. So she is there with family, so she'll be out today and tomorrow. So we got fill-ins for that dirt.
It's the KVJ Dirt of the Day. It's the KVJ Dirt of the Day. Virginia, take it away, because you know we need that Dirt of the Day.
Well, Virginia's been taken away, so we'll be doing the dirt of the day. That's how it all goes down.
If you need any help, Coach, you let me know.
Yeah, if you got a story you want to throw in, you can go on ahead and do that at any point.
Okay, I love it.
A couple of the top things that I saw, the conservatorship going on with Britney Spears, some interesting stuff about it, and as some of the details start to come out, looks like this conservatorship could be going on for years, at least according to some legal experts, and they're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Now, I think it's a very complex situation, but it seems to kind of all root down into many things. One, her controlling dad, and two, the fact that Britney Spears wants to make some decisions, including having a baby. In fact, a former boyfriend is saying that she wants a baby girl terribly, but is being forced to work instead. And she said that she would have spoken up and rebelled years ago, but she was afraid that the kid she has now would have been taken away, and that's why she kind of was quiet. But then people on the other side are saying that here's the really tough part about it and why it's not that simple. That apparently it was reported that they won't let Britney Spears remove the IUD because of the medication she's on. Apparently it's harmful to infants. So either she goes off the medication that she needs to stay mentally balanced, or she gets pregnant and then endangers the baby. And so that kind of is the complexity of the situation. So it's not as simple. I know a lot of people are like going, just let her remove the IUD, have the baby. Why would you do something like that to somebody? And like going, okay, well, here's the problem. Is the medication. We got to figure it out because that's going to be complex.
A popular viral trend I saw going on over this weekend were people reacting to the audio of her in the courtroom as they're looking in the camera. And they usually let it ride for a solid minute. The reaction of them crying and they can't believe it. And they're crying, looking in the camera. And I can't look at any more of those videos, Kevin.
That's what people are doing, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They're listening to Spears' stuff in the courtroom, and then they're just giving this heartbroken reaction.
Okay. Well, despite, all these kind of things, and I think it is a complex issue, it does seem like her dad is an a-hole. Some of the stories still coming out about him making $200,000 a year while she got a $2,000 a week allowance. So she's making the money, he's profiting the most, and she's getting hardly anything for it. So, yeah, the fact she couldn't pick the color of her kitchen cabinets, it all does seem pretty bad. So it does seem like it's going to be something that if you love those crying in the camera videos, they're going to be around for years because it's going to not be anything that's going to settle soon. Well, there is another star that is pregnant, Cardi B. She kind of made the announcement, at least visually, at the BET Awards last night. Her and Offset are expecting their second child, and she confirmed basically all doubt by posting something up on social media that shows her pregnant belly. So Cardi B is pregnant again if you want to see that photo, and it is interesting. I'm telling you, if you're watching Kvj TV, you can see it right now. If you're going to announce a pregnancy, that's the way to do it. Go completely naked and then just cover the front part of your body, boobs, pregnancy belly, and white paint.
Wow, me and Cardi B are kind of built the same way right now.
You really? Okay. All right. Second baby on the way. Lil Nas X also last night during the BET Awards ended his performance of Montero by kissing one of his male dancers. So he's doing what he can to get some word out there. Another award show they had on Friday was for the Daytime Emmys. Kelly Clarkson, the big winner, Best Entertainment Talk Show, and also she got the Best Entertainment Talk Show host. And the coolest moment was Alex Trebek, who won the Daytime Emmy for the Best Game Show host. So good to see that.
Rest in peace.
And also another interesting statement at the box office. F9, the Fast Furious, that's what they call it now, F9. $70 million it made. That is the most for a weekend draw since Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker back in December 2019. So it seems like we're getting back to normal with people going back to movies.
It's a good time to release one of those blockbusters that have a big fan base that's going to do well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for 4th of July weekend, I think they're kind of testing the waters. That was a movie that was made and was supposed to come out earlier in the pandemic, and that had been delayed over a year, and it sounds like they were smart to do that. So $70 million for the weekend box office for F9 this last weekend. And there you go. Anything else we need to throw in here, Bert, or we get it covered?
I have some stuff, but I'll save it for the second round.
Okay.
Because I think, no one wants 7 dirt stories, right?
I think we're all good,
Yeah, I think
right?
we're good.
I think you got it.
Follow KVJ on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at KVJ Show.
What are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? What's on your mind? Are you thinking about? What are you thinking about?
What you think about today, Jay Bird?
You know the hit classic horror movie Poltergeist?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very popular movie.
Yeah.
What's the youngest a kid should watch that, or the oldest they should watch that? What age should they?
I was probably 12, somewhere around there when I saw it. I would say that, you get around that mark, 12, 13, probably late elementary school, early junior high, you're okay.
Okay, because my buddy let his 7-year-old son watch the movie.
Okay.
And his 7-year-old son is now scared to death of trees because the tree eats the kid.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that movie. It's rated, I believe, PG, as it should not be.
Well, it was in the era, I think, right before they started doing PG-13.
That's a horrifying movie.
Yeah, so it would easily today be a PG-13 movie, and that's what I'm saying. I think that's about where you're talking about. And you got to know the sensibilities of your kid. Look, I don't watch horror movies as a 48-year-old man because I don't want that stuff in my head. So when you're talking about a kid that's 12, I wouldn't subject anybody to some of those horror movies. I know a lot of younger kids like them. My oldest kids that are 23, they love horror movies.
And I love them too. During Halloween last year, we were watching a lot of them, and we watched Poltergeist again, and we all looked at each other and said, this is not a kid movie. That's a legit adult. There's the part where the guy is eating chicken, and he looks down, and it turns into maggots.
Terrifying.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
So the kid now is just so petrified of trees.
Yeah. Well, and clowns. There's another one, too. The clown in that movie is terrifying.
Yeah. Well, just that's what's on my mind. He's struggling with how to make his kid not afraid of trees now. Any suggestions?
You probably just a little bit of time.
A little time.
Honestly, keep him away from those kind of movies. Yeah, that's definitely not a kid's movie. What I have got on my mind here today. Oh, first of all, we got to get Denny's in here in a second. Find out what's going on in Denny's minds. Virginia had stepped out here today. She is in Kentucky. If you missed that, the passing of her stepmom, so she's up there to be with her family.
Spent a lot of time with the witch over the weekend.
I saw that. You guys had the s'mores party?
I highly recommend anybody check out our social media of her doing some drunk dancing and not knowing I'm filming her. She was... Oh my gosh!
You had some John Mayer going on.
Yes.
I saw, and yeah, she looked like. What time did she show up? Because it looked like it was still pretty bright in the day.
Well, the s'mores party was supposed to start at 2:00. She got there at 6.
Oh, really?
Mama was brunching.
And okay, so she was out having.
So we started it late, or 5:30, whenever she got there. It was around that time, and then everyone left, and it was just me and Virginia till about midnight.
Really? Yeah. From what time to midnight?
It's like 7 at midnight.
Really? Just the two of you for 5 hours?
I would say me and Virginia were probably together from 8 to whenever you left, Sweet Denny's. Is that about 8?
Yeah, we left at like 7:40ish.
Yeah, okay, 7:40 to like 12:30.
Just you two, just kind of drinking, getting deep?
Yeah, and then just dancing.
Yeah.
You know, I think Mama was in a weird state of mind, too, seeing what she's going to be going through. So it was fun to
Did she do the do you want to die line that she likes to do when she's depressed and drinking?
No, but she was getting real deep.
Oh, okay.
I got some audio for later.
Yeah, I think at 8 a.m. we're going to hear the interesting proposal that Virginia has for you.
The witch had a lot of weird ideas after you left, Denny's.
Oh, I can only imagine. I could tell it was ramping up when I left.
Ramping up with just me and Virginia.
What was she drinking?
She was
The
day
devil's
drinking.
blood?
Yeah, she was drinking fancy drinks.
She came to the party
Ready to go.
s'mored.
Okay.
Yeah, she was already at 65% when she got there, probably.
Okay. Who was she pre-gaming with?
She had her friend, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's terrible, Jason.
Okay, your friend that you don't know her name?
Oh my gosh. Steven, her friend Steven.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Denny's, what you got on your mind today?
Well, so after I left the s'mores party, I brought some of the extra sweets because I know Bert's not going to eat them all, at his house. Well, so this is just a weird observation. Maybe somebody has the answer out there, but I never noticed this before. So we were sitting on my porch, my wife and I had some snacks out there. I put some cat food out there and water so the cats can go in and out. That way the house doesn't smell like cat food and stuff,
Okay, yeah.
So I have it out there, but so after we did they did the whole tenting and killed all the bugs in the house, on my porch in the morning on Sunday, there was a ton of ants in the cat food, but none were on any of the food that we left out on the table or by the cat food. There was no ants on any of the human food. It was only on the cat food. And it made me wonder, what is in human food that ants won't eat anymore? Because it used to be, from memory, if you left anything out overnight, they'd be covered in ants.
It's a
Right.
good point, man.
It was all just junk food type food, but not one ant. I mean, we're talking sugary stuff, and not one ant was attracted to it. It was only attracted to the cat food, and I couldn't believe it. There was hundreds of ants on the cat food, none on human food whatsoever.
They're putting something weird in the food. Remember when we found that old fast food sandwich it was like over it looked in perfect shape.
It looked like it hadn't even changed.
You could have eaten it. It looked like it was fresh. I mean, as fresh as one could look after a year.
But I found that to be a little bit alarming as I was cleaning up on Sunday, that I just couldn't believe that there was no bugs except for on the cat food. None on any human food.
Wow.
And I mean, I just know from old picnics that you would get ants within an hour or two if you left stuff out.
Right.
And so what are they genetically modifying food so that ants are no longer attracted to
Yeah,
it?
is our food that processed? They're like going, nah, I'll pass. I'll go for the dog food.
I love it though. I love the processed food.
So I usually am not one to eat all the processed stuff, but we had s'mores parties, so I ate more junk food on Saturday than I've eaten an entire year up until this point.
Is that why you think I like the processed? I think it tastes delicious, but am I addicted to it? Is there something in there that makes me go back?
Sugar.
Need it?
Yeah, no, they found that. There are chemicals they put in there. And anything from, I know you know the MSGs, but there are other things as well that some of the molecule chains that they put in some of the food is, a lot of it is to kind of hit those pleasure centers of the brain, and it keeps you coming back. So they do kind of make you addicted to some of the processed food.
Oh my gosh, the molecule chains are they got me, Denny's.
Those the fudge stripes, I must have eaten 26 of those things.
Yeah, Denny's is a fudge stripe cookie fan. Fat Kevin, I'm not a fan. What do you think of fudge stripe cookies?
They're okay. The thing that saves them is the whole underneath part is just nothing but straight fudge.
That's the best part.
Yeah, that is the best part. I don't know why they don't do it on both sides of it. That's what, when I was a young fat kid, I always wondered, I'm like, well, why are we striping the top? Why don't we have just solid fudge on both ends of this cookie?
She's a messy girl, though. If you eat that for a second out in the sun, you've got fudge hands.
Fat kids don't care about being messy.
You're right, man. Gosh.
We didn't care about it. We cared about double fudge, not about, having fudge all over our face.
And look, if fudge hands is your worst problem, you're living a pretty good life.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. What I got on my mind, I thought this was a great quote, that this is just so apropos for our day today. But this actually came out in the 18th century. There's an essayist named Joseph Joubert who wrote, "It is better to debate a question without settling it than to settle a question without debating it." And the fact that we cannot have conversations today, whether it be about politics or vaccines and things like that are going on here, to me is so damaging. And we need to get over this as a society, because we are not having important discussions because we can't stop freaking fighting with each other.
About everything.
About everything.
But was it always like that and we just see it now because social media is so prevalent? Or have we gotten worse as a species?
I think that we have gotten to this shut down, I'm going to make you afraid to make any kind of comment culture because of how I'm going to try to ruin your life. And I think that it has changed a little bit in that respect. And I think it's very damaging for freedom of speech and discussion that is necessary so that we can come up with better conclusions, because important conversations are not happening now because people are afraid to have them.
It's terrible for the comedy world. I mean, if you have to constantly worry about things you're saying when you're trying to be funny, it's not very funny.
Well, I just think just regular debate and discussion, it is a terrible thing that you have to be so buttoned up in anything that you say that we are not really discussing important things that we might, if we could just back off how entrenched everybody is in their own opinions, to say, let me listen to the other side a little bit, we might all come to a better common ground by having this great discussion.
Did you see something to fire you up that makes you want to talk about this?
This quote.
Oh, the quote. Gotcha. I thought there was an incident as well. I hear you.
Yeah. No, I thought the quote was very important. And the thing that I thought was interesting, too, is they've been studying, and I've said this for a long time, how damaging the two political party system is in the U.S. And research has shown that breaking people into 3 groups instead of 2 leads to less animosity. They say something appears to be unique about the binary condition that triggers the kind of good versus evil, dark versus light, us against them thinking that is particularly pronounced in the U.S. Other nations that have 3 or more political parties don't seem to have the same contention that we have in America between Republicans and Democrats. And it goes to show you how much a third dominant political party is needed in the U.S., we wouldn't have this kind of vitriol between Americans if we had someone else to kind of balance it all out. And I know my parents, who were very right-wing leading, and I'll say this even for the liberals on the left, the people that I know, there is a good versus evil, us versus them, good versus light, light versus dark, all this kind of stuff, that hatred that goes on. And it's almost like you need that third person to balance it out.
Well, I just noticed when we put something on social media that's a little bit more, social issues, people automatically start calling people, you damn Republican or you damn Democrat.
Right.
And it's this or that. And life is not really this or that.
No,
There's so
it's
much
really not.
nuance when it comes to life. And to your point, having A or B, of course it's going to make people pit against each other. You do that with snacks. You're going to pit people against each other.
We're all missing the very important common ground, and we're not having the discussions that we need to have. So
I like it. I
my
like
point.
it.
Powerful.
And
Very
that's
powerful,
what's
Austin.
on my mind. Got a bunch of emails here from some parents looking for a little bit of guidance. This email to mail@kvjshow.com says, my wife keeps putting lipstick and eyeshadow on our 4-year-old daughter. Now, I think it makes our daughter look like a mini stripper, and I just don't see the need for a 4-year-old child to go out in public with all that makeup on. I think it brings on unwanted attention. But my wife says that it's a form of bonding between mother and daughter, kind of like what sports are for some parents. Well, this doesn't feel as innocent as throwing around a football. Am I wrong, and how do I handle this?
I ain't got kids.
Yeah, I hear you. As a father myself, if I saw this going on, I don't know that I would love it. I guess it depends upon what it is. I am kind of where this guy would be, but how would you handle this? Because her thing is saying, well, this is a bonding thing. The only thing that I would ask is trying to come up with some agreement that if you're going to do this, can we just do this as a dress-up kind of thing inside the house and not have our 4-year-old daughter wearing the makeup like this out in public?
Why would that be controversial to do it that way? Do you have to go out in public?
Yeah.
And are we just being men by saying the kid shouldn't go out with makeup on?
I don't feel like we are. I think that, as far as I know, there's just a different dynamic with dads and daughters.
Well, yeah,
There
because you
just
want to
is.
protect your.
I got
that's
2
your,
boys,
it's
1
your
daughter.
child. You
Yeah.
want to protect that no matter what. And you being a dude, you know how other creepos
Right.
are, and you know what can happen.
There just always will be between dads and daughters a different dynamic. And
I get
so
it.
I understand the discomfort in this. I would try to seek the compromise being dress up is fine if we play with this in the fantasy world. But if we're starting now making a 4-year-old think that, hey, you have to have all this makeup on before you leave the house, that to me is where you start getting into the part of it being, maybe it's not as cute anymore and it's slightly damaging.
I was in makeup a lot as a kid. I had
Yeah.
sisters. They always played dress up with me. They're always putting me in some kind of a dress and putting some eyeshadow on me.
Yeah, see, I don't think you need to demonize makeup. I think it's just okay, for what she is and who she is that needed to get out of the house. Let's just keep that inside. That would be my hope, that you can find compromise. And if you can't find compromise, you've probably married a wicked woman.
My name was Blanche, by the way.
Blanche?
When I was
You had your own alter ego?
Because
that's cute.
Well, Golden Girls were popular when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Blanche. I was dressed up as a woman.
You can get away with that stuff. That's when it's fun. You had a good time, right?
Oh, but yeah, we always had fun.
Yeah, and look at you now.
Look at me now.
Still love costumes. Still
I
love
do.
dress up.
Love it.
Okay, this email is entitled, When Do You Cancel a Kid's Birthday Party? It says, my son is about to turn 12 and his birthday party was going to be this Saturday. Well, he ended the school year with bad grades and has been mouthy several times in the last week. He's currently grounded, so does that mean that we cancel his birthday party for Saturday? And if we do, does he still get the same amount of presents, or do we cut those back, or do we cut them out entirely too?
I personally, if I was in that situation and I was the father, I would make sure the kid's on restriction, because they're grounded.
Yeah.
And then on their birthday, we have fun on the birthday.
Yeah.
And then we go
So-
back to restriction the next day.
You're still special.
Yeah.
You're still somebody we need to celebrate. This is a special day because that's really what a birthday is. It is the one day out of the year where we celebrate you just being who you are, the good and the bad, and everything that we all are, because no human is perfect.
Let's not make the birthday kid resentful to the parents.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, you do start to do that. I think you do have to be careful with your kids. Now, you do need to discipline them, but you got to be careful crossing over that line into resentment, because then you get some really long-lasting scars that affect a relationship.
Well, you would hope you can discipline and still not burn the whole house down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So I think you're doing it right that he is on punishment, but yeah, let him have a little fun birthday.
I kind of think we're nailing these scenarios, honestly.
You don't have kids, but you talk like a wise parent.
I mean, come on.
This says, my ex doesn't want me introducing our kids to my boyfriend. Says, I'm a mother to a 3 and 6-year-old. I was divorced from their father 2 years ago and recently started dating a new guy. My ex is now threatening to take me back to court because I let my new boyfriend meet my kids after 4 months of dating. He said that he will not allow me to confuse his kids and complicate their lives with a revolving door of men. This is the first relationship I've had since my divorce, and I have never introduced my kids to another man. I don't want to deal with legal issues, but am I wrong? Should I stand my ground? Yeah, it sounds to me like your ex is just kind of blowing off steam. Now, how soon is too soon, and when do you let your kids meet somebody new coming in?
Well, I don't think there's anything illegal that's going on here. Talk about court. Court
Yeah.
for what? Going on dates?
Well, I think what it is he's trying to say that he wants to reestablish the custody agreement based on her introducing his kids to men that she's dating.
So he's saying she's got so many men coming through the door.
Well, that's how he's trying to make it sound.
Damn, that's messed up.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 4 months of dating. I think it's a decision that you've got to make. I'm wondering, in fact, Virginia could answer this if she were here, but I would assume maybe in some custody agreements, maybe you'd be able to place that in there about seeing people that you're dating and how soon and whatnot.
Let's call her and wake her.
Okay.
Ask her this question. I'm sure she would love that.
So if anybody's got any insight on that, how soon is too soon? I would think that you want to know that you are in a pretty stable relationship because you don't want to confuse kids.
But in your opinion, how many months should it be to introduce the kid to a new person?
I don't feel like 4's out of the question. I would be a little bit more comfortable with 6. But I think 3+ you're okay. And I think it's a sliding scale where, within the first month, first 2 months, that feels like that would probably be a bad idea.
2 weeks and it's hot and heavy.
Yeah.
We still don't do it.
Pump the brakes.
Pump the brakes.
Don't do it. 3 months, and if it's a really solid relationship, you're spending a lot of time together, maybe in a casual, they get to see him a little bit. But it's nothing where it's like, hey, I'm going to pack up my kids and we're going to spend the night at your house.
Well, isn't 3 months kind of the sink or swim?
Yeah.
When you're first starting to date somebody, you kind of know we're either going to get serious or I got to get out of here.
4 months, you might be getting there. 6 months, I think you are there. And again, it's how do they meet them? If you just run into them while getting ice cream with your kids, that's different than the kids pack up and we go spend the night at his house kind of thing.
I remember I was playing baseball. I was about 14 years old, and one of my teammates, his mom, was just talking with her friend, and we all knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. They were trying to act like they weren't dating and sleeping together, and everyone always made, dude, your mom's totally banging that guy. But the mom and the dude acted like nothing was going on, and everybody knew.
Everybody knew, yeah.
People know.
Yeah, they can see through it. They know what's
Kids
going on, especially at an
know.
older age. Yeah. Somebody commenting in here with text that it shouldn't be till about 6 months that you introduce your kids because it can confuse them. So it seems like few of the texts are saying about 6 months. Seems to be about right.
And then what happens if you introduce them 6 months and then you guys break up 3 months later and then you meet somebody else? Same thing?
You should, I think, always with any new relationship, wait till at least 6 months. It's probably a good call. And if you keep ending a relationship at 7 months, then maybe you need to bump it to a year.
Definitely.
Now, this is another interesting dilemma, too, because you were talking about one of your buddies, Jaber, that has a 7-year-old daughter who was getting in trouble at school for kissing not just one boy, but 3 different boys in elementary school.
Yeah, when school was going on, she was kissing boys and she got in trouble.
Yeah, so completely innocent or not?
Well, when I was a little kid, I remember being in kindergarten during nap time, It was my first girlfriend. Her name was Christina. She was from Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I can't believe nobody stopped this. We were
Right.
holding hands, snuggling, and kissing each other's hands on the floor, and no teacher stopped it. That seems a little inappropriate, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think the teacher should have stepped in. Now, my wife deals with younger kids, 3, 4, and things like that. And I said, well, what do you do? And she said, yeah, you would want to step in, and you would say, no, okay, we don't.
Because the little girl, my buddy's daughter, she wasn't, she wasn't asking permission. She was just going up and kissing boys. So that's where I think it's a little different to where back when I was in Lake Park Elementary, the nap time was 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
To have a snuggle session with another, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, a teacher should have been in on that. That
Dude, it was the 80s.
That's
I think
neglectful
they were
teaching.
taking their smoke break.
Probably. Yeah, so what happens if you have a kid 6 or 7 that's doing that? My wife actually said, there's an article, and she sent it to me, a 6-year-old boy in Colorado that got suspended from school because he had repeatedly kissed one of his classmates despite her telling him to stop.
She didn't get kicked out of school. She just got, talked to, and her parents got called in and all that. But she didn't get disciplined to the point where, now, if it was the other way around, to your point, there might have been a different situation.
Right. Now, this is, where it can go. This is kind of interesting. This happened in Colorado. Keep in mind, it might be different stuff. And it was a boy repeatedly kissing a girl that was 6 that was saying, please stop kissing me. And he wound up getting suspended.
Yeah.
And my wife said that probably is what would happen.
Well,
Kids at that age can get suspended for doing that.
Technically, the little girl should have got suspended. 3 different boys, and they didn't want it, and she was kissing on them. And
Yeah.
she didn't get like a detention. Her parents just got called in. That was all.
Right. So what do you do if you got a kissy kid? And I guess it depends upon the school where you are. Probably the parents of the kid that they're kissing. I asked my wife, I said, what's the protocol on this? She said, well, we would break that up pretty quickly, and we always are talking about touching, respecting space, and things along those lines. That's a lesson that you teach kids at that age. And you got to notify the parents. So if you had parents that were not real happy about this and the kid kept doing it, she said, it depends upon the situation. Like at a private school, they would probably kick the kid out of the school. And there would be likely some kind of discipline. In fact, in Colorado, there was a kid in public school that was suspended for repeatedly doing this with a girl saying, stop kissing me, and the kid was 6.
If that was in Oregon, they would put that kid in prison.
Yeah, probably,
That kid would be doing hard time.
Yeah. Somebody texted in and said, yeah, my sister's son is 4, and he just got kicked out of school because he pulled a girl's pants down and kissed her butt cheek.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. Well, I asked my wife too, and she said, well, the other thing that they want to do is sometimes they'll get school counselors involved because they want to know what this kid is seeing at home.
Yeah,
This kind of behavior is happening, and they often sometimes will find out that there's something going on at home because it's outside of what is typically normal or cute. Yeah,
that's a little over the top compared to just kissing.
Right,
kissing and smooching.
They
is
might
one
have a
thing.
conversation with the parents, that kid's parents, to try to find out, why is your kid doing this?
Wow,
That's next level.
That is next level.
That is next level. So what is the kid seeing that he would do that? So parenting, it is always a challenge, always things to do. And I was curious, if you could do it all over again, would you? We asked the question on the KVJ Show Twitter over the weekend. What have you enjoyed more, life with kids or life without kids?
And answer it honestly.
Answer it honestly. And, we did it that way because it wasn't something where we put it on Facebook where your name would be attached to your answer. This was just, you just hit a yes, no, and nobody has any idea who voted how, so you could vote honestly on that poll.
You clearly have an answer.
Got an answer. And it is interesting. Because the thing about kids, it's fantastic, but there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of cost, there's a lot of your life. For 18 years that is taken up, dedicated to those kids, your life really is not your own when you're a parent.
Well, not only that, it's great. I'm just saying I would be worried about my kid a lot, and that takes up a lot of emotional baggage in your brain space. That's not easy.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean,
Totally.
you invest basically everything you have when you're a parent. Now, there is a ton of reward, so that's the question. How does it balance out for a lot of people? When we ask, what have you enjoyed more, life with kids or life without? 59% said they enjoyed life more with kids, but 41% enjoyed their life more without. 41%.
That's almost half.
That's almost half and half. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and they probably miss the freedom of doing whatever they want, and they probably also miss what I was just talking about, having a more worried-free mind. I just know having Chewy when he was alive. Right. I was always constantly thinking about, and that was a dog. Imagine a human, and then you have multiple of them.
Well,
I would be worried about that.
You are not the first priority when it comes to spending, comes to time. You feel like you give up a lot of yourself. And I've got friends now that are getting that age where the kids are graduating, moving on, and either some parents really love it and they find a new them in it, or some parents are just lost and have no idea what to do without the kids. So, and that probably breaks down to exactly what this is.
Make a cocktail.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
That's what you do. You make a cocktail. Have a little bit of fun. All right, well, if you got the kids now and you can relate to the expense and saying it's summertime, my kids are driving me crazy, what do I do? It's called Camp KVJ. We've got tickets, a 4-pack to Rapids Water Park and a 4-pack of tickets to the South Florida Science Center and Aquarium. We'll give you that hookup next. All right, you can call us up right now for Camp KVJ. Got a 4-pack of tickets to Rapids Water Park and a 4-pack of tickets to the South Florida Science Center and Aquarium. Understand, when you got kids home for the summertime, you're trying to do a job, make some money. Everything is so expensive, man. The cost of camps. And a lot of times the only alternative is your kid just sits at home and stares at YouTube or plays video games all day long. We're dealing with this, but it's tough. This is probably a big part of it. What have you enjoyed more, according to our poll? Life with kids or life without? 59% said life with, but 41% said life without.
What's your answer?
Mine is life with kids, but I will tell you that it is a drain. It is tiring. It's tough. There's always problems that come up with kids. There's always cost associated with kids. And especially if you run into a situation where, money is tight, things are tough. Sometimes you get kids, too, that have behavioral issues, problems, or their own individual physical challenges that make it a lot tougher. There are a lot of things that not all situations are the same.
My buddy was telling me he snapped at his kid the other day.
Yeah.
Really bad, and he felt really bad about it. When's the last time you snapped at your kid when you felt bad? Can you even remember?
I'm pretty good at that.
That's good.
I'm pretty good at that. I think it probably was when I was coaching my daughter in softball, and I think soon after I quit coaching.
Get the butt down, Caitlin!
Yeah. I sounded like I did in the No Name movie game on Friday.
Get the butt down!
I have this inner competitor I always try to keep suppressed, and every now and then it comes out.
The monster comes out.
Yeah, the monster competitor comes out, and I lose my marbles.
There are people like that where they have to really
have to suppress
man.
that beast a lot. So
I get it.
Yeah, I think that was probably the last time, but I tried to make it a point to not do it. And this is an interesting thought, too, that somebody texted into us. They said, the longer you wait to have kids, the more time you've had to be a selfish adult, and the harder it is then to adapt your routines and behaviors to accommodate a kid. There really is a right age to have kids biologically. There is a lot of truth to that, and I could see that. Luckily, in my 20s, I was tethered down with the kids. So I had a little bit of free time through college to go get crazy and have fun. And we also luckily had grandparents that could watch the kids and still get a little bit crazy. But I could see that if you're into your 30s or close to 40, and you're used to spending your money and your time on yourself, and now it's like, oh, wait, that might be a lot harder. So that's an interesting point.
I can see that.
Yeah, definitely. Got Sherry on here from Jensen Beach. She wants to give her hookup to the grandkids. Hello, Sherry.
Hello.
Hello. How old are your grandkids?
They are 6, 3, and 1.
Oh, that's cute ages. Okay, very nice. Well, they're really going to love the South Florida Science Center and Aquarium. And Rapids Water Park is really great, too. I remember taking my son out there when he was really young. They still have really cool things, even for like the 3-year-old to go out there and do the lazy river. And there's a whole little play area just for them. So all your kids are going to have an amazing time. Okay, Sherry?
Oh, great. They're going to love us. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Yeah, we do it every single day during the summertime, all the way through July. So we're going to be doing that for the next month, giving you the hookup for Camp KVJ. So tomorrow morning, right about this time, we'll be back on it.
I'm so glad to hear that the kids were young. People get so sore if they're teenagers.
They're teenagers?
Yeah. Well, we had one that it was a college kid. It was a 19-year-old. And people, I can't believe you give this to a 19-year-old.
Damn you, KVJ. All right, so you get a chance to win tomorrow right here at 7 o'clock with KVJ. All right, I got some celebrity birthdays today. Elon Musk is turning 50 years old. Also, Mary Stuart Masterson is turning 55. Groundhog Day she was in, correct?
No.
What was she in? I get her confused with Mary Steenburgen.
That's who. Well, yeah, she wasn't in that either.
Yeah.
You're thinking of for Groundhog Day's Andy McDowell.
Andy McDowell.
I get them. It's so fun. I get all of them confused.
I get those
too.
three actresses confused with everything they do.
Yeah.
Oh, Mary Stuart Masterson's not who I thought at all.
That's Ted Danson's wife or ex-wife, or they were married. No, that's Mary Steen.
Mary Steenburgen. Mary Stuart Masterson. She was in Fried Green Tomatoes, Some Kind of Wonderful, At Close Range.
Yes.
In fact, I looked at her, I'm like, that's not who I was thinking that was at all.
She's Watts in Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah.
The drummer.
Okay,
They
yeah.
had a crush on him. They get together.
I think she's big in the 80s.
She was big in the 80s.
Yeah. Kathy Bates is 73 years old today. Also, happy 17th birthday to our favorite kid, Eli, from Mom, Dad, Nana, Papa, Piz, and Pants. That's cute, two names together. Got a photo there on KVJ TV. Also, a birthday shout out to Eric from your wife, Joy. Got a birthday to my amazing husband, Logie Bear. Hope you had a blast celebrating your birthday this past weekend with our family. Love you from Natalie. Also, we got a shout out to some parents here from your daughter, Kelly. This is to Brett. You can see him there on KVJ TV. Also, Christy Slater is having a birthday today. Sent an email, and there's a photo of her there with you, Jay-Bird.
Oh, wow. And look at that. I have a cocktail in my hand.
Yeah, go
I
figure.
can tell
huh?
I have been through a few cocktails, and I have glasses on, and I can tell.
Yeah, pretty solid. Got a little bit of insight on the Game of Thrones. We hear that the books, George R.R. Martin is going to not do what they did in the very unpopular HBO series Game of Thrones. And somebody said, with Game of Thrones, basically it was based on the books, the entire show, but the final season, they finally caught up to the books and they had to make their own content. That's why it sucked.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But they really went a way they shouldn't have gone.
It was just terrible. Absolutely.
I was expecting so much on that last season. It was. You ever get that where you're about to sneeze? It's gonna be a great sneeze. It's gonna feel so good, and then the sneeze doesn't come, and you just feel so unsatisfied.
Oh, it's terrible.
That's the final season.
That's kind of the way it went.
An unsneeze sneeze.
Also, somebody kind of explaining when it comes to why it took so long to get Marilyn Manson to turn himself in from an incident that happened in 2019. They said that basically it does take a lot of time to get all the evidence together, putting the warrant out and things like that, especially in a complicated case, that the timeline's not that crazy.
Okay, because I thought you had said the arrest warrant came out in 2019.
It's from I believe, a 2019 incident.
Got ya.
That happened. So that's why that went down. All right, have you ever been looking forward to a movie and then they come out with that movie and it's completely terrible, kind of like what we were expecting with Game of Thrones that last season? We were all looking forward to it. If you want to talk about the most disappointing final season of a series, Game of Thrones might be it.
I don't think I've ever experienced disappointment like the very first prequel of Star Wars. So excited. You could not believe, as a Star Wars fan, it was coming back.
Right.
You couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then when I heard they're doing a prequel, I'm like, I don't like prequels that much because there's a lot of crap that it just, but I'm like, I'll get excited anyway. And boy, I hated it. And everyone hated it.
Well, you saw where the confusion was going to start. And that's it. Because when you jump around, even a movie that has the timelines that are all over the place, sometimes like, wait, are they in the future? Are they in the past? Or are they in the present? I'm not sure I necessarily love that.
Not a huge prequel fan.
A ton jumping around. And then, of course, with Star Wars, they go back, then they go forward, then they're here, and then you're like, wait, where am I now? What part is this? Good luck putting that timeline together in your own mind.
Didn't you say you were disappointed when you saw that in the theater?
The Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
Well, so I went to the theater to go see that movie because I was so hyped for... I used to love Star Wars. It used to be one of my favorite franchises. And honestly, the prequels ruined it for me where I couldn't even get into the new ones because I hated the prequels so much. But what's weird is that the prequel universe has been done in other, mediums, in books and in video games, and they've done it so awesome. So to make a movie and fail, so you make a movie about how the Senate is changing over and they have an invisible ship. What part of that appeals to anyone?
Hey, kids, we're talking about the Senate.
Changing of government, and it's got the lead star is a kid in it. So is it made for kids or adults? I could never quite place what that movie was made for.
It is on the list at number 1 for the biggest movie disappointments of all time. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, because of how great the original trilogy was and where you expected, just with the brand of Star Wars. You said, wow, this is going to be something. It had been so long since we saw a new Star Wars.
And not to keep it too Star Warsy, but the part 8, the one that the Rise of Skywalker, whatever the middle one of the newest trilogy.
Yeah.
When Princess Leia's flying in space after she should have been dead, that was so infuriating of a movie.
I think the reason why when you talk about when you're looking at the biggest movie disappointments, I mean, you can just say that movie sucked, but this was a disappointment because the expectations are so high. I think by then Star Wars had kind of established itself as we're not as good as the original trilogy.
No, because the Force Awakens came out with J.J. Abrams, and I liked it. The first time I watched it, I was kind of excited about it. I didn't think they did a bad job, and I was excited for that second one. And they really they changed everything.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
Yeah.
But then I watched the Force Awakens after. You're right, it was never good.
The only Star Wars that made the list was Episode 1, but that's number 1 on the list. Other big movie disappointments. Number 2, they got The Godfather Part 3.
Yeah,
in there.
I never watched that one.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that just say they hate that.
I saw it once.
I saw it once.
Once.
And,
I've seen the other ones like 6 times a piece.
Mm-hmm. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was in at number 3. It got really wacky with alien stuff at the end.
That movie was not good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. They've got The Matrix Reloaded in on that list, and the first Matrix was so great. I was so excited to see where the trilogy was going to go, and then, man, the other movies were just so disappointing.
2 and 3 are unwatable.
They are, yeah.
Someone said Coming to America too, but we were kind of suspect before that was released. I wasn't shocked that we didn't like it.
Well, the thing about that is there was such a gap. And, that's with anything. You look at those kind of movies. Star Wars Episode 1, massive gap between movies. Same thing with Coming to America. I get very suspect when there is a huge gap. Same thing with Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
When they did the Dumb and Dumber or whatever, I'm like, there's just a massive gap. And I wasn't expecting a lot. And to me, that's a disappointment. It was so far off how good the first one was.
Well, that's what makes me nervous about Wedding Crashers. I love Wedding Crashers, but they're doing a sequel 20 years later.
They're kicking it around, and I don't think they have anything there. I think they got to get rid of it. I would just drop that.
Drop it.
Yeah, the first one was good.
Spider-Man 3, they say one of the biggest movie disappointments.
Well, they tried to fit 3 storylines in one movie. It felt like they only had one movie left, so they put, Venom in there and Sandman, and then they had that weird jazz scene with Spider-Man. I was like, what the heck is this?
That was weird. Yeah, that was messed up. They've also got Jurassic Park 3 in there.
Yeah, that was pretty.
I mean,
how much can you do with dinosaurs? I mean, we get it. They're gonna eat. Yeah, you're stuck in a park.
We get the concept. Don't do it. It's a bad idea.
It's like Die Hard. There's 5 of them. How many times is this dude gonna run into terrors?
I do mention that because Die Hard is next on the list for biggest movie disappointments. A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah, it's not good.
Ocean's 12.
Terrible.
It had that weird scene where the guy dances through the lasers. That kind of ruined it for me.
It had the fact that Julia Roberts' character was playing Julia Roberts as a lookalike. It was whack.
They went out on a limb on that, and apparently the limb broke.
I don't think a lot of people liked Ocean's 12.
I never watched it because of how bad I heard it was.
You would pull out your hair.
11 was so great too.
11's a great movie.
Yeah.
13's not bad.
13 is not bad. You could tell they took some of the criticisms from 12.
And then Clooney strikes again for the biggest movie disappointments with Batman and Robin. It had been a pretty solid franchise up until that point, and then you're like, oh, okay, they can make really bad Batman movies.
He was so smug as Batman.
Yeah, right. Well, what do you expect?
Jokey,
Yeah.
one-liner.
So there you go. Other movies that you would put as the biggest movie disappointment. You can get a hold of us, 877-979-WRMF. Couple other big movie disappointments. Somebody said the sequel to Blair Witch Project. The first one was so great, I thought the second one would be awesome. It was not.
Well, they didn't have a budget for the first one. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you don't have a big budget and you're just trying to be creative and working with what you got, the magic is there.
Yes, and Independence Day Insurrection. Somebody said, I was so disappointed I even called my bank and did a claim for a refund for those iPick tickets. Wow. Okay, there you go.
Wow, Independence Day fan.
All right, Virginia is not with us today or tomorrow. Unfortunately, her stepmother passed away, and so she's with family in Kentucky. Will be back with us on Wednesday. So we got a head-to-head battle on Think Fast today.
Ooh, Miho versus Miho?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Going down, Denny's.
All right. Bird and Denny's, here we go. Who can come up with the better answer faster? All right, first one. Something you would find on a farm that starts with the letter P.
Potatoes.
Oh.
Okay, we'll take that. Potatoes. Very nice. Jaybird strikes first.
Oh, that sound you make with that marker gives me the worst feel. When I hear it go,
Yeah.
it makes my.
There's no way around it,
It's like
unfortunately.
someone's putting polish in my lungs or something.
It's like nails down a chalkboard, huh?
I hate it.
Yeah, I wish I could change it. All right, something most people get once a week that starts with the letter G.
Groceries.
Oh, Denny's groceries.
I almost said goats.
Yeah, weirdly, you have a word locked already, and you're hoping.
I had a word locked.
It threw me off with that G.
Okay, we got a tie match here. Think fast. Something you need while sculpting that starts with the letter C.
Chisel.
Oh, you can tell his wife sculpts.
She does.
Jumps into a 2-1 lead on his boy the Bird.
Oh.
Think fast, y'all. A fruit that starts with the letter P.
Potato. No.
Pear.
Potato?
Potato twice.
I'm really locked in on potato.
You
too.
are locked in on potato. Potato.
I think we gotta get hash browns.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, Denny's could be putting this away here. Okay, it's a name synonymous with keeping your drink cold that starts with the letter Y.
Yeti. Yeti?
Yeti. Yarn will not.
So you trying to get in?
I was gonna say koozie, but he got me with the brand name.
Yeah,
It's
Yeti. It's over.
That was a rough round.
Potato. Potato. Very nice, Denny's.
Oh, yes.
All right, you got something that you need to call out here today, 877-979-WRMF, or you can also use our Mic Drop feature on the free 97.9 WRMF app to do it. Bird, you said you had something weird that you need to call out here today.
Well, yeah, I was pulled over the weekend, and I'm not one to argue with a police officer, but he pulled me over, and I'm like, all right, what's going on here? And he said I was speeding. He said I was going 45 in a 35, and I definitely was not going 45 miles an hour. Because I remember distinctly looking at the sign when I was driving by. I go, 35 miles an hour. Huh, okay. And so then when he pulled me over, he asked me all that. I said, well, I was going 35. I'm pretty sure, officer. Then he walks back to his car, and then he drives away.
Just drove away?
He drove. I got no explanation. I was confused. He just left.
That was it?
So was he messing with me? And I don't think cops are messing with people to just, let's do a joke, because no one knows I drive that Jeep anyway. And or did he realize he made a mistake and just took off?
It sounds like the second choice. He probably realized that that you weren't the car he was trying to pursue.
Or is he just a weird cop that doesn't know what the hell he's doing?
Yeah, that is something. Maybe he thought that the speed limit was something different.
Yeah.
And he
then
went back to the
and
car?
looked, and he's like, "Oh, wait, actually, that guy was right." But the fact and then maybe he just didn't want to own up to his mistake. 'Cause he's
Maybe.
like, "I'm going to look stupid for pulling you over for actually doing the speed limit."
I was so confused. I go, you can't tell me what just happened? Yeah, I don't think he wanted to tell me he was wrong.
He probably just bounced. He didn't feel like dealing with it.
It was weird. I'm calling him out because it was a weird moment.
Okay, we got some other call them outs here. This is from Tiffany, who submitted this on our free 97.9 WRMF app on the Mic Drop feature.
I want to call out the stupid DMV. It took me over 4 hours this morning to get my child an ID card. And it took 4 hours because they're not taking appointments. It's walk-ins only. So not only was I stuck there for 4 hours with my autistic child, but I also had to miss lunch with my pickles. It has not been a good day. Do better, DMV.
Okay.
Wow, she sounds pissed.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think she sounds pissed. She had the tone in there, hitting all the syllables.
Rodney wound up sending us this. Call them out.
So I have this girl that is basically leaving me over a freaking Peloton instructor. She thinks the Peloton instructor, the guy in her freaking bike, is going to, like, go out with her or something. She's losing her mind. I'm calling out my girlfriend and the Peloton douchebag for ruining my life.
Yeah, they're definitely sleeping together.
Well, I think these Peloton instructors are people that are piped in remotely.
Yes.
Well, maybe they're not sleeping with each other.
So they stream it to the bicycle, right? It's like streamed to the television, and you can then ride your bike along with the instructor.
Yeah, so it sounds like she's got some kind of weird fantasy crush on her Peloton instructor, thinking that somehow they're going to wind up together or something like that.
Is it possible that they're both annoying on this thing? I can call them both out for their call out?
I mean, they're recording from a studio somewhere. I bet you could find them. Hook up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you have a crush on somebody that's in a magazine
Yeah.
Yeah.
or a catalog. You want to find them?
Try to find them.
Somebody's texted and said, I'd like to call out the people who feed the squirrels. Yes, they look adorable for pictures, but I just spent my Monday morning being chased by a squirrel. Squirrel 1, me 0.
Boys, squirrels have become organized and humanized, and they do not sweat humans. You've seen it, Denny's?
Yeah, they stand up to you.
They stand up to you. They travel in groups now.
In gangs.
They look like they just got out of prison and they're ready to settle a score.
Well, I was just feeding that squirrel a couple weeks ago in my backyard. I was just sitting there eating some nuts, and the squirrel came up and started eating nuts right out of my little container right next to me.
They do not sweat us humans. Back in the 80s, I felt like squirrels had a little respect. Now, these modern day squirrels.
I think they're used to being fed by us, so when they see us, they immediately think, hey, this guy's cool.
Okay.
Ducks seem cool still. Squirrels ain't.
Although ducks are loud in the morning when they're chasing each other.
Okay, Wayne has got to call somebody out here.
I want to call out my best friend. I just found out that he overcharged me for weed. And the worst part is he did it on purpose. Because he told one of our other friends, oh, hey, Wayne's too dumb to notice or whatever. And you know what? I'm not even so much mad. I'm just really hurt.
Oh, damn.
Twist at the end.
That is sad.
Wow.
It's just hard. I would be bummed out too.
Yeah, it's weird though. We're in a weird time where there's street prices, medical prices, you've got friend prices, you've
Dennis
got
ain't lying,
discount
Kev.
prices.
There's a lot of confusion out there.
There's so many numbers for the same thing now. You never know what you know.
Okay. And Pete has got the call them out here.
I want to call out all employees who think that a breakup is a valid reason to call out from work for the day. You know, it is getting impossible to find anyone who's dedicated to doing, a decent job in America now. People who call out because of a breakup are losers.
Huh.
What do you think, Coach? What if Sweet Denny's broke up, or someone Suits? Let's say Suits is dating somebody. He breaks up and goes, Kevin, I just can't come in. I'm heartbroken. Valid excuse?
Well, to me, the question is, what is the term of the relationship? Denny's is married. If he had a breakup, I mean, that's pretty intense. If it was somebody you're dating for 2 weeks and they ghost you, that's, not as understandable.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's supposed to have that personal day where if you need to deal with a breakup or whatever it is, you determine what is personal to you. So you are the judge.
I just wouldn't tell anybody you're taking that day for a breakup. Just say you're taking a personal day. Don't say I'm taking it for my breakup. Only because
you think that people still would.
Well, there's guys like that work in an office. That
there's a stigma.
There's a stigma with it. In the business world, you might come off slightly weak to some people if you are, to your point, a 2-week breakup. Just take a personal day.
Yeah, I would be more anything. I think over a year, I would be more understanding. I mean, so wrecked that you can't come into work. I would think that should be probably a marital type
That's
situation.
divorce, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, your life has to be falling apart.
But even 6 months, you loved this person, they just break up with you. Can you not go into work the next day, especially if you're needed?
I don't. If you were taking your one allotted personal day and that's how you chose to do it, I'd shrug it off, be like, oh well.
No, personal day's already been burned earlier that year. You have to take a day off because you're
Well, then you take a vacation day.
okay.
Yeah.
And you don't vocalize it, right?
Well, that's just the way it works. I mean, you burn your personal day, now you're eating into your vacation. So if you need to take a vacation, then go for it. That's all you.
Love Denny's.
Yeah, I would take 3 vacation days and try to find myself.
If you would that take 3 days for you, a divorce? Would you not want to come to work for 3 days?
I guess it depends on personality too, because I'm the type of person that if I'm real depressed, I want to work. I need something to keep my mind off of things. If I sit in my room all day, it's just I'm gonna do bad things probably.
I'm with you, and I know the kind of bad things you're talking about.
I'll get sunk in my brain.
I think it was Tiffany we'd had on the mic drop, call him out of the DMV for taking so long, kind of messing up her day.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, people are calling her out now saying, what DMV? Because in Palm Beach County, we're appointments only, so I'm calling her out. There's no way that happened.
Oh, tough. Oh, she's not from
she's
Palm Beach
Broward,
County.
right?
She's Broward County, yeah.
Okay, so that's, So she got the Palm Beach County DMV all upset.
All fired up.
Yeah.
Oh, DMV.
But it's Broward she's talking about.
DMV getting lippy.
Yeah. We had the one from Pete about calling in sick for a breakup. But somebody said, I kind of want to give a nice little shout out to where I work. My company's amazing. I'm a boss. A few years ago, after I broke up with a live-in boyfriend of 2 years on Valentine's Day, I went to work that day. I was a bit of a mess. And at the end of the day, my boss said, you know what, just stay home tomorrow, day drink and cry.
Well, that's a cool.
Nice.
That's what you should do if you're a cool boss.
Yeah.
A Valentine's Day, 2 years. That you got broken up on Valentine's Day?
I think she did the dumping. Sounded like she did the dumping, but it's probably one of those things where maybe she had to.
She did the dump. All right.
Which you can still get sad dumping someone.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
you don't want to. Maybe you had to dump them because they're cheating on you.
Yeah.
You're right.
That can be a crushing blow. Denny's, you said you got something to call out here today?
Yeah, so this happened yesterday, and it's not that big of a deal, but I was wondering if anyone's come across this yet. I went to a popular fast food place just to get some food.
What's it rhyme with?
And the weird part is I went to pay with cash. Some of my buddies owe me money, and they all pay me in cash, and I've been playing poker, so I got a ton of cash I'm just trying to get rid of instead of using my account. And the lady was giving me a hard time about paying in cash.
Yeah, this has happened to me too, where they would only take, they would not take any cash, and it was for a food item.
Well, so I go, what, you guys aren't taking cash? She goes, no, we take cash, but she's like, I already got the machine out. If you have your card, it's quicker. And I'm like, I don't have my card. I have just cash on me because I figured. And she goes, and then put her hand out, groaned and put her hand out.
It's like that time where you talked about how you wanted to get that sandwich, and the guy goes,
oh
man,
that's the most pain in the butt sandwich.
I don't want to make that sandwich. It's the hardest sandwich to make. Dude.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
Dude, your point with the credit card, that you're right. They don't want to. It's too much work.
Well,
They have to break change.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. They didn't want to do any of that stuff. The new one, you just tap the card and move. And the lady was giving me a hard time paying cash, like I'm slowing up everyone. Nothing was even wrong. She just didn't want
cash
to.
is the new check?
It almost, it is. If you give somebody cash, they give you a look and you get a
Well, you got to make change. Somebody drops the change.
I've seen it more than once where cash has made people go, oh, no, it's too much. And maybe Corona had something to do with that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, maybe Corona is kind of, people don't want to touch it now, and I totally get that.
I
but
think that's what it was. Everyone's doing their own card, and they're touching their own device. Cash is so disgusting.
I just felt so bad when I left. I couldn't believe I was getting flack for that.
Okay, now Broward DMV is calling out Toff, too, saying Broward is appointment only, too.
Damn, Tough! Damn. It's all happening.
You call it the DMV, apparently the DMV is going to fight back.
Oh, they listen.
They are not messing around.
Never have they messed around.
That's hilarious.
Like, I don't think so. Let me see. Positive call-em-outs. Danielle said this past weekend was the Cal Ripken State Tournament. The West Boca Cobras 8-under A team finished number 6. The 7-under B team finished number 3.
I mean, Denny, it's a big deal. Cal Ripken Jr., you obviously know who that is. He played for the
Yankees?
Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, jeez.
Close enough.
I know you would.
There's no way I would get that one.
It was designed to make you look dumb. I'm sorry.
Also, somebody said positive call out. My brewery shift was so slow yesterday to where I only had 4 checks all day. The last one left me a $100 tip and signed Mazel Tov. I made $109 yesterday, and $100 was thanks to this amazing stranger. So that is kind of nice, and that happened at the Black Flamingo Brewing Company in Pompano Beach. So thank you for doing that. And I also want to do a nice call them out here today. Remember how we went paddleboarding a couple of weeks ago, Jay Bird?
Yes.
Well, they wound up doing their run over the weekend, and yesterday they wrapped up on Lake Worth Beach. Really cool thing, the Crossing for Cystic Fibrosis. They did an 80-mile ocean crossing started in Bimini in the Bahamas. Paddleboarders, kayakers, and a wakeboarder completed the journey to raise money to support families affected by cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, all those people are really, really cool and nice.
Yeah, so
I'm not just saying that. They're legit cool people.
So they did an amazing journey for a really great cause. So a big shout out to you. In the call 'em outs, Denny's was calling out because they were trying to get him to not use cash when he went to a store. And this is an interesting thought. Somebody said, what time was it? Because I've worked in a lot of restaurants, and other people were saying this too. Towards the end of a shift, we'd have to count the drawer down. So if somebody pays in cash, you have to do the whole drawer all over again. Yeah, definitely lazy, but at the end of the night, you're just trying to get out of there.
Look, it's fast food. You know what I mean? If people have cash, they should be able to get a burger.
Yeah.
Because you're lazy? Yeah, it doesn't.
Kind of, yeah.
It's part of the gig. I get that it sucks. You still got to do it.
Some people might rebuff you about using cash because they don't have to redo the whole till all over again.
It ain't right, Kevin.
Yeah, so they're saying. And some debates about the DMV. Somebody said I was there the other day with an appointment, and people were walking in without appointments and being seen. That was at the Belle Glade office, so the fact that it's appointment only is not necessarily 100% true.
And I think Toff might be from Dade County, not Broward.
Miami-Dade.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know what the rules are. It's not, now the Miami-Dade DMV needs to call
Right.
us again.
Yeah, so every county we're finding out which is appointment. St. Lucie County, DMV, we are by appointment also. But I'm hearing maybe Martin is not, so I don't know. It's very confusing.
Martin's the one I go to.
Okay.
But I don't want to start a DMV. It sounds like a DMV
You just
war.
show up there, though, right? You don't need an appointment?
I don't know what I did.
Okay. You don't know what you did?
I don't really
You have
remember.
no idea what you did.
I just knew that it was quick, and I went next door to get a pizza.
You probably just walked right in there.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I'm going to come prepared. You're going to see a different bird
You're
tomorrow.
not going to start a story and then throw it back at me when I wasn't prepared for it to answer all the questions?
I'm going to knock your pants right off with how I do.
You kind of knocked my pants off today because I'm like, wait, what? I don't know. This is your story.
I can't. I can't. I'll be better tomorrow. I was going to give you some excuses. I'll just be better tomorrow.
I don't know. This is your story. But Virginia, she was in town over the weekend at Jaybird's house. They hung out Saturday night, and Virginia was a little tipsy, it sounds like, from this audio.
Look, it was Saturday. Mama was having a good time. I know she was a little down about what was going on, too.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but she had some interesting suggestions that she brought up.
It got really weird because everyone laughed. It was just me and Virginia, and she had ideas that I did not know what the hell she was talking about.
Oh, man, we heard so much about Jaybird's s'mores party that was going to be going on over the weekend. He was all excited. We were talking a little bit about s'mores last week, how delicious they are. New little hacks and ideas you could do to make your s'mores even better.
We had so much fun. The theme of the party was the modern day s'more.
Okay, and what different changes did you do? Because you're even talking about like pizza s'mores and things like that.
I did the pizza s'more.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
It had different opinions. It was controversial.
It was controversial.
I think people couldn't get around the whole s'mores are supposed to be sweet. That's what a s'more is. And
how did you do the pizza s'more?
I had 2 Italian herb crackers.
Yeah.
And then I put pizza sauce.
Yeah.
Mozzarella cheese and a pepperoni piece, and then put it through the skewer thingy, and then cooked it.
Okay.
I thought I nailed it, to be quite honest with you.
Did you? Okay. All right.
The grilled cheese.
Okay.
Modern day s'more.
Yeah, okay.
And then Sweet Denny's made the fudge stripe cookie.
Yeah, I used the fudge stripe instead of the graham crackers.
How was that? Was that an upgrade?
Oh, yeah. It was definitely an upgrade. They're a little chemically tasting, but man, I can see I must have ate 20-something of those. I can't stop eating those things.
He was like, at one point, Denny's goes, no more s'mores, no more s'mores.
I had to push it away.
Well, somebody even they took chocolate chip cookie dough and they took everything from a s'mores that you would have, the chocolate and the marshmallow, and they kind of put it in the middle of that. and then baked it up, and you had just this gooey s'more. I mean, so there was a lot of different stuff you can do with it. Anybody, did you do anything tricked out with the marshmallows, or are they just standard marshmallows? Because I know people were talking about taking chunks of caramel and putting them inside the marshmallow.
Denny's, did we have chunks of caramel there? Yeah, we did.
You
We had
did,
everything.
okay.
In fact, I would say the marshmallow is the weakest link.
I spent way
Yeah.
too much money on the s'more party. I bought way too many s'mores. I had to give stuff
Well, that's
away.
what you're giving away. I took some home with me.
Yeah, I went too big.
Okay. Well, there was some interesting audio of what happened and video you'd had at the party as well. So a lot of people got to see what was going on. I saw you had a little problem with your fire starting off.
Look, s'more party's gonna have a couple problems sometimes.
Did you get that fire kicked up
We
eventually?
did. We finally did. Yes.
Okay. That's good to hear. All right, so that got going. So the fire got raging.
Yeah, and Virginia finally came around 5:30 I'd say.
Fashionably buzzed.
Fashionably buzzed, yes.
Okay.
Well, the party was supposed to start at 2, and I couldn't film without her because she was my partner in the whole s'more party.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for her.
Where had she been?
Mama was out brunching.
She was day drinking.
I go.
Oh, okay.
Because I go, AV, I'm running a few minutes late. Can we do 2:10, 2:15?
It was like 2:30ish.
She's like, oh, darling, Mama's brunching. You're fine. I'm like, oh, boy.
Oh, boy. And she showed up ready to go.
She did, and then everyone left, and she stayed and kind of partied with just me. So it was just me and Virginia, and she is all of a sudden just dropping weird things out of the blue. I go,
Weird ideas.
Yeah, there's some drunk singing.
Okay. Yeah, she was actually listening to the lyrics of this song here and talking about how this applies to you.
Yeah, the s'mores party turned into her trying to take a John Mayer song of "It's About You, Bird."
Start it over and think about like what you have in your heart.
Oh, boy. So that's what it was like,
Well,
huh?
we're
For-
having a s'mores
you had
party.
5 hours of that?
I got my boys over, just
my
the modern day
gosh.
s'more party, and then I'm getting analyzed through John Mayer songs about what I'm doing wrong.
Oh, man.
Dang. Okay. But that wasn't the most interesting thing that Drunk Virginia had to say to you on Saturday. This was an interesting proposal.
Keep in mind, I'm having a good time. I don't know where that's any of that's coming
Just
from.
out of left field, yeah.
Yes.
She volunteers this.
Yes.
Okay.
So, what if I was your surrogate?
What? Surrogate?
Surrogate.
Surrogate? Were you talking about wanting a child?
No.
Yeah. Nothing about this happened? Like
I
you
don't
were
know
like,
what-
man, I really feel like I've missed out on life not having my own biological child.
No, you gotta understand, I was coming off hard on a s'mores party. I was really just.
So the last thing you're thinking about is kids.
Well, I was
We were in a jovial mood, just living life.
I was in a fun
So this
joke.
just comes out of nowhere where she's like, maybe I should be your surrogate?
We're listening to John Mayer, and then it starts getting deep because we both love John Mayer. We love his lyrics and all that.
Okay.
And I guess it turned. Why would you want to be my surrogate?
I don't want to be your surrogate, but
How did we start talking about this?
like, I don't want you to be childless on this earth.
What?
What are you gonna do?
You want to be my surrogate?
I think I should.
Oh, wow.
That is not a good decision.
What?
Clearly, that's an alcoholic. I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know what that was.
How do you think her husband would feel about her carrying Jaybird's baby?
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. I mean, there's multiple ways you could do it.
Well, it's not. That's not. I think she wanted to carry the baby. I don't know
Yes.
what she was talking about, y'all.
I mean,
Wow.
we had
But
been drinking at this point
I
for a
did
while.
know that it's time to get my recorder out and to secretly record her.
Whoa. Okay. Boy, that's some fascinating stuff there, huh?
And you got to check out on our TikTok her dancing. I think it might be on our Facebook
Yeah,
too.
so
Yeah, I
There's
put
some
it,
stuff, on the different social media stuff. Is that the one where she's just kind of dancing by herself? Like,
Swaying.
It's like nothing else is really going on at the party. It just looks like it's just her and
me.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think we got to keep in mind too. Mama's having a rough. She's
Okay.
got to go, to a funeral today,
Yeah.
and I know she was not looking forward to that. And I think,
Okay.
it's obviously made her sad. So I think she just wanted to have a good time.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay.
it wasn't that good, I guess. No, we had fun.
It started off.
Fascinating stuff.
We had fun.
Boy, that would be something. Could you imagine just the storyline if Virginia actually did become your surrogate?
Oh, man.
It can't happen.
Have you ever thought that, wow, what a benefit that would be?
It's never crossed my mind once.
Not one time.
Never.
There's zero chance of this happening. What a storyline it would be, though, huh?
Virginia loves music when she is. Who doesn't, though? I love getting a buzz and listening to
It's the greatest.
It's so much fun.
Wow. Okay, well, there you go. Very interesting videos. If you want to see everything from the s'mores party over the weekend, we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
There might be another video. It's just there's so much I don't even know.
Still going
I don't
through it all,
even know
huh?
how to get through it.
Oh, wow. Okay, little kid or drunk adult. We've got a story here of something dumb that somebody did, and you just got to guess, were they a little kid or a drunk adult when they did it? Chris has got our first clip here.
Well, I caught my sleeping grandpa's jacket on fire.
Okay, all right. I caught my...
And where I come from, that's called attempted murder.
Wow. Okay, little kid or drunk adult when that happened. You're right. If that's an adult, you could be in some serious trouble for trying to set grandpa on fire.
It's got to be little kid. I'm locking in.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta say little kid. Although at a couple drunken parties, we have set people's stuff on fire.
Stuff, but the
stuff, the person?
Well, what we used to do, I mean, so we would take tissue and stuff it in someone's shoe and then set it on fire and be like, dude, you're on fire, and wake them up.
We'd do that in baseball,
I
too.
mean, it's like...
It's called hot foot.
Yeah.
So you light someone's shoe on fire.
We used to do that.
They don't know it.
Okay, so is Chris, little kid or drunk adult? We're all saying little kid here.
I was a little kid, and my grandpa could sleep through anything, including the fireworks show we were having in the backyard. Some of the adults went inside and thought a sleeping grandfather was satisfactory supervision for a 6-year-old. Long story short, I let off a Roman candle that I lost control of, blasting a fireball onto my sleeping grandpa, and he hadn't moved that fast in about 50 years.
Oh, man. Grandpa. Wow. Okay. Everybody's going to get a point on that one. Okay, Denise did something dumb. Was she a little kid or a drunk adult when she did this? What did you do, Denise?
I got yelled at because I deliberately farted in a cat's face.
She deliberately farted?
She deliberately farted in a cat's face and got yelled at. Okay.
That ain't cool for that cat. I know the cat can't speak.
No, that might take a couple lives out of the 9.
Yeah, that knocks out at least 3 of your lives.
That does.
A fart to the face on a cat?
Depending upon the level of fart.
Yeah, I know some big farters.
Oh.
Totally kill a cat.
A little kid or drunk adult? What do you think on that, Bird?
I'm going to go, that's a drunk adult.
Okay.
Something stupid.
Denny's?
I gotta say, that's gotta be a little kid, right?
I'm with Bird. I kind of feel it seems intentional and rude. Like what happens when alcohol's in your system. I'm going to go drunk adult as well.
I was a drunk adult. Okay, listen. My friends and I were trying to do this whole viral, stupid, drunk challenge or whatever. So long story short, I farted in my sister's cat face on purpose and then got yelled at by her and her boyfriend, a.k.a. Cat Daddy. We put the video up on social media and got immediate hate for it, so we had to take it down.
Wait, was there a viral challenge I missed where you're supposed to go around farting in cats' faces?
I have not seen that.
Is that a viral challenge?
I missed that one on TikTok.
Yeah. And what is the hashtag on that? Fart in cat's face?
Hashtag repulsive human.
Yeah. What is that?
Poor cat.
Okay. All right. So we got Bird and myself with 2, and we got Denny's with 1 here. Got one more little kid or drunk adult. This is Ryan. What dumb thing happened here?
I got into the coffee beans thinking that they were jelly beans, and I threw up everywhere.
You mistaken coffee beans for jelly beans?
You're a kid.
And then
You have to be.
Little kid, yeah, that seems like it. My wife lays those things out for the smell. It is interesting. It's a beautiful smell that you have in your house, but they look scrumptious.
That is where they put the drugs, too. It's the butt or the coffee grind.
Yeah, we
coffee
cocaine underneath ours, too. Just so you know, if you ever come to our house. Ton of blow underneath all those coffee beans. Okay, we're saying all of us. Little kid, right?
Yeah.
He was?
I was a drunk adult. I just grabbed a whole handful and just started munching on them. And I don't know if y'all have ever decided to eat coffee beans or coffee grounds. They will make you throw up everywhere.
They're hard to eat, man.
I did not know that. Okay.
Do I try it tomorrow?
Wow.
Well, some lady my mom knew was making these chocolate-covered coffee beans, but I don't think she cooked them right. They were so hard to eat.
Oh.
I don't think she made them right. I ate about 6 of them.
Oh, actually, oddly enough, we got some of those this weekend. The espresso.
Are they difficult?
No, they were delicious. They were great.
You eat them?
Yeah, you eat them. It's kind of like the same consistency as if you're eating like a chocolate-covered peanut or something.
Yeah, mine were very tough to get through. She must have did them wrong.
That's because you got them sats, soft-ass teeth.
You're right. It doesn't help.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, if you've got a story for us and you want to be on Little Kid or Drunk Adult, you can use the mic drop feature on the free 97.9 WRMF app, and make sure you leave a little space there so we can stop the audio and guess whether or not you're a little kid or a drunk adult.
Oh, man. I dropped my Fresca.
Oh, geez.
Damn it.
Drinking problems?
I have a drinking problem. Sorry, Kev.
Just basic drinking, huh? You're doing anything tricky or just a basic drink?
Because I got a weak-ass grip, I think.
You can't even hold on to a can?
It just slipped out of my hand.
You do have a weak-ass grip. Man, oh, man.
Sorry, as you were.
Okay.
Ow! There's a lot of dumbass criminals to talk about, baby. It's the whacked out news. People breaking the law. Ha ha, fighting in the nude. Ha, drunk people pooping in the street. Ha ha, it's the whacked out news. So many people on meth. Ow!
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I know a lot of people have been waiting for this, but kind of feels a little anticlimactic. The U.S. government report on UFO sightings. People were waiting for it to drop, and when it came out, they concluded, well, there's really not enough data to explain the flying objects.
They're saying they don't know what it is, and I think they're even saying that they don't. It could not be of this earth. It could be of this earth. They're kind of playing dumb and coy.
Yeah, the report makes no mention of alien visitors, but it does admit that some of the observed incidents may be beyond the ability of the government to explain. So really, the whole report just comes back as inconclusive. We don't know.
I'm telling you, Kev, there's too many people who are higher up that's been in the military, and they're singing like a songbird, and we're not alone. They don't know what these are. It's been going on for decades and decades. There's some really high credible people coming out and talking.
Oh, what's interesting is just maybe NASA's approach on this. Their new chief is not satisfied with the Pentagon's inconclusive UFO report, and he's ordered his scientists to study what is going on at NASA. Bill Nelson himself is a former NASA astronaut and previously served in the Florida House of Representatives and the U.S. House of Reps. In January of 1986, he became the second sitting member of Congress to fly in space. So this guy has been around, knows what he's doing. He said, you know what? If the Pentagon can't come up with an answer, we're going to come up with an answer, even if we have to officially label it to say we are having visitors from other planets here on Earth. They stopped short definitely of doing that, but he's going to put NASA on the case to at least come up with that specification.
I mean, anybody can do some of the research and make your own opinion up, but people who are telling these stories and who have seen these things or have had legit alien experiences, I don't think they're lying. There's a people that their entire life was their reputation.
Yes.
So why would they screw all that up right now?
Well, basically any alien story you have out there, it's going to come back and you put the stamp inconclusive on it. So there's nothing being said one way or the other, but it sounds like the new NASA chief is like, I don't like that term inconclusive. Let's go with definite, try to get something that's a little bit more finite on these stories.
That's too bad that they're not going to give us more. I was afraid of this.
Well, I expected it, actually, because that's pretty much what they do. They finally got to the point where they said, we don't know what it is. We're not trying to make up stupid lies about weather balloons now, but at least we'll tell you we don't know if it's the Chinese, the Russians, or if it is some kind of out-of-this-world aircraft.
Military people don't think it's that. They think it's out-of-the-world aircraft.
Did you see the viral video that had happened from that woman who held her sign out in the road of stage 1 of the Tour de France on Saturday? It was going viral. She was kind of standing in the road, and she clips one of the riders with it, and there's a massive bike pileup.
It's insane.
That happened because of it. She was holding this sign that was a mix of French and German that basically meant something like "Go Grandpa, Grandma." It really made no sense. And it looked like she was posing for a photo. I don't know that she deliberately wanted to whack the rider and knock him off the bike, but the Tour de France said that they are going to make an example of her. They're trying to track her down because they say they are going to sue her.
Well, she should get everything thrown at her.
Yeah, now it's odd because if you've not seen the Tour de France, they have these regular, just kind of country roads, and people are standing right on the side, and they don't have any kind of barrier whatsoever. So I guess it's just everybody's got to understand you got to be cool and don't mess with the riders, which she crossed that boundary.
Well, people could go get hurt.
Yeah, but if they try to sue her and that goes to a court of law, I'm wondering if she could say, well, I mean, there's no boundary. It was an accident, so maybe do better, Tour de France. I don't know. I don't know where that'll go.
Maybe she'll counter sue.
Well, this doesn't seem like a smart move. There's a 39-year-old man who was swimming in a large pond in North Venice, Florida on Sunday. What might be in a large pond in North Venice, Florida? Gators. Guess what bit him? Yes, gator. He was flown to Sarasota Memorial Hospital for treatment, and now an alligator trapper's got to go and try to find the animal. But you go in some of those things. I saw a TikTok video. Somebody was in the Everglades, and they were doing a baby gator call, and it was at night, and they said, look at the eyes. There were about 200 gator eyes looking at him. He shone a light out there, and you could just see all these gator heads popping out.
I've seen footage of that before where it shows you just how many gators are out there.
Oh, my gosh.
Makes you never want to go in fresh water ever.
Wow. Yeah. Lesson learned. A 45-year-old woman in New Zealand got a COVID nasal swab test and ended up finding a tiddlywink that she had shoved up her nose as a kid 37 years ago. How crazy is that?
How do you play tiddlywinks?
It was kind of a little thing I think you'd throw up in the air. I haven't even messed with it since I was an elementary school kid.
That is some old school gaming right there.
It is old school gaming. Here she is talking about it.
When I was 8 years old, I was playing tiddlywinks outside, and I put a tiddlywink in each nostril and then would blow them to see how far they would go. But one time I accidentally inhaled it. Fast forward 35 years later, had a COVID test. Obviously, it had dislodged the tiddlywink that was inside. They did a CT scan and found that there was something inside my nose.
Okay. There you go. Tiddlywinks. How about that, huh? Something else from our English friends. The British version of Dr. Fauci is a guy named Matt Hancock. And so he's a guy that's trying to tell you how to live your COVID lifestyle, but apparently he wasn't practicing what he preached. He had to resign after he broke his own social distancing rules. Somebody caught him having an affair and making out with an aide.
Oh!
No.
Did he have a mask on?
No, he did not.
That's amazing.
So he had to step down. A driver in Maine was pulled over for doing 110 miles an hour in a 45 zone last week, and he told the cop that they were going that fast because a female passenger had to use the bathroom. In addition to speeding, the driver was also charged with a DUI. No! So, there you go. Can't speed when you got to pee, and definitely when you're hammered driving. You can't do it. 31-year-old St. Pete man was arrested last week for assaulting somebody at a 7-Eleven with a jar of Tostitos salsa.
Oh, yeah.
It was unprovoked, but the jar hit the guy so hard that the glass broke.
You could kill somebody with that.
I guess you probably could. Fortunately, the guy's okay, though.
You could kill somebody with tortillas, too, if you really wanted to.
You think a tortilla?
You could poke somebody. You could.
I guess technically. It would be challenging.
It would be challenging, but you could kill someone with a tortilla.
Think so? Okay.
Yeah.
A tortilla or tortilla chip?
Tortilla chip.
Yeah, tortilla chip would be easier. Just a regular flour tortilla, good luck.
I think I can kill somebody with that, too.
You could probably, but it's more challenging, I think. There's a man and woman that are behind bars after shooting up a Burger King parking lot in Memphis, Tennessee earlier this month. And it's all because they were upset because they ordered a spicy chicken sandwich that they say was too spicy. Dummies.
Well, that's why you shouldn't dance with spicy then.
Good Lord. That's worth bringing out your pistola over? This is kind of ironic. An event in Kansas City, Missouri called Waterfest had to be canceled due to flooding. What?
That's great.
Firefighters in Tulsa, Oklahoma had to rescue a cat that got stuck in a tree with its owner. Apparently, the guy had climbed up to try to save the cat, and then he couldn't get down either.
Ooh.
That's kind of embarrassing. Luckily, both are safe now. A fifth-generation family cheese business in Wisconsin just broke its own Guinness World Record by creating a single-string cheese that's 3,832 feet long.
Ooh, that's fun.
That is. Good for them.
Fat Kevin, were you a string cheese kind of fan?
No, it's kind of frustrating.
You just want to eat the whole thing.
I just ate the whole thing. I wasn't patient enough to pull the stringing along.
I would always bite and just eat the whole thing.
So I'm like, what are we doing here? I stopped it. It felt like a game. I felt like they were toying with me. Fat kids like to eat fast. And on Thursday, a grocery store chain in Missouri broke a Guinness record by cooking and serving 13,000 pancakes in 7 hours and 16 minutes.
Should we try that for Wednesday? World Record Wednesday?
That's a lot of pancakes.
I have to start now, I think.
13,000. That was a grocery store chain in Missouri that did that.
If I made 20, is that KVJ respectable?
No. It feels like it's just going to be a big waste of food. And that's what's going on in your whacked out news. Well, these stories coming out of Surfside are heartbreaking. The latest 9 people have been confirmed dead. As many as 152 people remain unaccounted for at the Champlain Towers South that had collapsed on Thursday. They say this disaster is likely going to be ranking it as the worst in Florida history, with a death toll that will be more than triple likely that of Hurricane Andrew, as they search for more survivors or victims of the collapse. And they're still trying to figure out exactly what it was, but it sounds like there was definitely some negligence that had happened. In 2018, there was an engineer that warned of major structural damage to the slab below the pool deck and abundant cracking and crumbling in the parking garage under the 13-story building. And an engineering firm estimated about $9 million in repairs to the condo building 3 years before the collapse, repairs that clearly had not been done. And they say the day before the collapse, there was a resident who's now missing who told her son that she heard creaking noises. Oh. So there was some signs that it was going on. Lawsuits have already begun as they try to look for answers, but it will likely be months before they sort out some of the details of what exactly happened.
Well, especially when you had people, a year ago or 2 years ago talking about how terrible it was.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what this means for all of South Florida, because I know that there are several people. In fact, I was just on Nextdoor, and there was a woman named Sally who was, on there striking up a conversation a lot of people are involved in. She said the Champlain condo complex is not quite 40 years old. Problems were identified in 2018 and were not new at the time. Cracks and water intrusion were identified, but as usual, nothing was done, and I live in a damaged, unrepaired 42-year-old West Palm Beach condo. The board has refused to spend the money to keep the building safe. I think the first state-required professional inspection should be completed no later than the 35th year, maybe even at 30 years, to actually prevent more serious and more expensive problems.
Well, I think you may see your condo changing its tune a bit. You'd have to.
Yeah, and right now, Miami-Dade and Broward are the only 2 Florida counties that have a requirement that condos be recertified when they hit 40 years old and every 10 years thereafter.
If I was that person, I would videotape all of this stuff, video it, and then put it on social media.
Yeah.
If you've gone to them and they're refusing to fix it, then
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of questions, and they're already looking at all the condos up and down where the Champlain Towers were, just to kind of like do a double check and look. And now there's even stories about the condo developer seemed to be a little bit of a shyster. And there was even some questions about the quality of the construction with that. So they're going to look a little bit more into that story.
Does that cat then get criminal charges thrown at them?
He died in 2014.
So no
charges.
Well, you can dig him up, arrest him.
He had a lot of stuff going on, including tax evasion for skimming thousands of dollars from coin-operated laundries and issuing $120,000 in checks for phony construction work to cover up the tax cheating. So he had some other issues before his death. So they're wondering if this might have been another one. The stories that are coming out are just absolutely unbelievable, and one of them is kind of a mysterious story. Jonah Handler was one of these stories that had come out. He was a 15-year-old that was rescued, and thankfully so. There was actually a man from Arizona who was walking his dog when he heard Jonah crying for help, and he said, "Please don't leave me, please don't leave me." And he was the video and the footage that you saw of him being rescued. And another one of the stories is of Arnie and Miriam Notkin. They lived in apartment 302 of the Champlain Towers South. And according to their grandson, Jake Samuelson, they are getting calls from that apartment. In fact, 16 in total, with the first one coming the night of the tower collapse at 9:50. The tower wound up collapsing at 1:30 a.m., but they've received calls since then.
So what the heck is that?
That's what they don't really know, because when the call is answered, there is no human sound on the other end of the line, only static. And when you call the number, it gives a busy signal. The last call they received was on Friday night. So they're trying to figure out, was there someone on the other end of that trying to get through and the landline still somehow worked? Dang. Is it a glitch in the works that is, bringing that call to Jake Samuelson's house?
This reminds me of one of the episodes on Twilight Zone.
Yeah, so they are really trying to figure out what that mystery was and what was going on, but just one of the many crazy stories that are coming out of this. Yeah, it is some pretty interesting stuff, but, there's a lot of unexplained stuff that is out there.
There is.
Do you have something that cannot be explained?
I've got, the last week, I've had 3 people that I know tell me these stories, and these are people that I trust.
Yeah.
And they swear they saw this, and or they experienced, and they don't know what the heck what's going on.
You just got to put it in that unexplained file where you have no idea what it is. Yeah, you're reading off a laundry list of crazy stuff.
My one buddy said he was fishing. It's a few years ago, and he said, I was just fishing at nighttime, and he put the flashlight out really quick because he had to do something with his line.
Yeah.
And he looked up, and across the little area, he said there was a creature standing there. He said he didn't know what it was. It was not an animal, and it scared him. And he said he never really told anybody about that. But he goes, dude, I don't know what the heck it was. It was standing there looking at me, and it looked like some weird creature that he'd never seen before.
You could have a lot of fun with a creature costume.
You could, and I know what the naysayers, but it was at nighttime in a remote area. Nobody should have been out there.
Okay.
That was the one. This was an interesting one. A girl was telling me that she was living with an abusive father. He was verbally abusive and very, very mean. And there was a ghost that would come and try to have sex with her. And she said when her father died, the ghost stopped trying to have sex with her. A legit ghost would try to. It was something she said it would happen throughout the years she was living there, and as soon as the father passed on, the ghost went out. That it never happened again.
I wonder if her dad's negative energy was drawing.
That's what I said.
Negative spirits.
I totally said the same thing.
Huh.
Pretty crazy.
That when his energy was gone, then the ghost left too.
I mean, I don't know how
crazy.
much more. I don't know. I got so much.
Well,
more.
we'll see if anybody else has got something too. Yeah. Do you have something that you can't explain? Well, I know the whole nation and world, and definitely South Florida, has been captivated by the tower collapse at the Champlain Tower in Surfside. 9 people now have been confirmed dead. As many as 152 people remain unaccounted for. And for anybody that lives in a taller building in South Florida, it's maybe older, it definitely brings up a lot of concerns. I think that this is one of those tragedies that is going to rewrite South Florida history, much like Hurricane Andrew changed building standards in our area. This is definitely going to change standards and how things are done.
The person who texted in, living in the building right now that's old and falling apart, I really would, if they're not doing anything about it, I would go public with that. Because they have to, they can't just say they can't fix it because they don't want to do it because it costs money. If it's breaking the codes, they have to do it.
Well, just looking at some of the texts that we're getting in here, I think that there have been some shady people that have probably tried to sidestep what is right. In fact, somebody texted in and said, I used to pour concrete at a lot of buildings in Miami-Dade County, and I can tell you that I would see a lot of watered down concrete, which would lead to a lot of cracked foundations. And somebody else said that, look, if I see rebar in a place I live, no way. There should be 6 inches or more of concrete all around rebar. And maybe there have been some less scrupulous builders that have put up some high rises throughout South Florida that just don't meet standards. Somebody said, don't forget to mention, too, that when these buildings need repairs, the people that own the condos have to pay for them, and their board has to make that decision, and nobody wants their HOA fees to go up. I mean, just alone, I was looking at the tower that fell in Surfside, and they're talking about $9 million worth of repairs. So if that's the bill and you hand that to people and like, wait, no, we got to split $9 million to get this repair. And apparently they were, but it was like, okay, do we start with the base or do we start with the roof? And because it was hurricane season, they had recommended starting with the roof. And that's why you had heard, like on day one, they had said, well, they're doing repairs on the roof. That's the reason why. And there it was. It had major structural damage. And unfortunately, we see the results of that. So will standards change, and what will happen with all of that? So I know a lot of people are asking some questions, and I think it's all going to change pretty quickly. But we're also talking about just some of the stories that are coming out of this. Many of them are very heartbreaking. One that's mysterious is about a phone that is calling from these people's apartment to the grandkids' house. 16 calls in total. One happened before the tower collapsed, and then there have been like 15 that have happened since the tower collapsed.
Yeah, so what is that?
And when they answer the phone, it's just static, and there's nobody there. And they're like, why does it keep ringing? And then they call the number back, and they get a busy signal.
That's crazy.
Yeah, what is the mystery that is going on there? A lot of unexplained things that have happened. And people in the chat room, seems like almost everybody has their own little ghost story.
Or something they can't explain.
Yeah, your unexplained story. People who went to Gettysburg, where the Civil War battle happened, and they see ghosts in their hotel room, things like that.
I love it.
And David on here calling in from Connecticut. David, you have an unexplained story, something you saw?
Yeah, I love you guys. I want to say that first. You know, I've been listening to you guys for 10 years now. I moved back to Connecticut. I still listen every day.
Sweet.
But when I was a young kid, I lived with my grandparents, and I had opened the curtains to my bedroom window one night, and I looked out, and I just saw strawberry fields with people working in them where we had like a wooded area. And I went back to bed. I thought I was like maybe dreaming or something. And when my grandfather passed away, I finally told my dad the story. And he said, my grandfather bought that property from a strawberry farmer 40 years beforehand.
Wow.
So there were strawberry fields there. Yeah.
So you said it was multiple people?
Yeah, it was like people working like in the field. It was like shadowy kind of just people.
How long did it last for?
I mean, it was seconds. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I mean, I probably was 9 or 10 or something like that, and I went to the window, and I opened it up because I was just, drowsy. And when I opened the window, it was like vivid fields of people working, picking strawberries.
That's crazy.
I love that story, man.
Wow. That is something, David. Thank you for the call. That is crazy. You see something that's vivid like that you're like, okay, I wasn't sleeping. That would actually be kind of tough to carry around with you because you never get that explanation. I think that all humans, we always want an answer to like, what did I see? What was going on?
I love these kind of stories. You can't explain it.
Yeah. Somebody else said that my husband and I were at Deerfield Beach, 2000 to 2001. We saw a large object shaped like a triangle come out of the water. It had 3 lights on each corner. It was so quiet. It was at night. And there were other people, too, who saw it.
I want to talk to that person.
We all just looked at each other, and we were in disbelief. It freaks us out. We really don't talk about it much.
That is one of the more common sightings people see. It's a quiet triangle it's usually black, and it's got 3 dots on it or 3 circles on it, and they can't hear it. It's got no sound. It's such a common sighting.
Between, the alien stuff that's going on and ghosts, I mean, how much stuff is just going on around us that we have no idea about?
Well, that was one of the points they made in the UFO documentary that I had watched. There, think about electricity. It's always been here. We just couldn't see it, and someone tapped into that. Is it that crazy of a thought to think there's things around us we as humans have not tapped into?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's possible.
Bill's got a real recent sighting here from Melbourne. You saw something yesterday, Bill?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, how's it going? I was looking up in the sky around sunset, and something like flashed. It caught my eye. I thought maybe it was a plane. but it was small and it wasn't moving super fast, but it wasn't really like distinct commercial airliner. It moved behind the cloud and it flashed again, and it was like, it was a UFO. I mean, I couldn't identify it because you look at like a JetBlue or whatever, you see it in chemtrails, and they're planes. But this thing was like, it was so weird, and I've been seeing a lot of stuff like that lately, especially around like holidays too.
By holidays, that's an interesting point there.
Holiday.
From what I've gathered with all the research I've been doing, these UFOs like water for some reason, and some people believe it's a possible fuel source for their ships.
Really?
That's not confirmed. It's just theory. But they are. It seems like there's a lot of water stuff going on, and that's the cool military reports that I really love. Is when these military people see these flying saucer or whatever they are zipping around into the sky, and then they dive into the water.
Yeah.
They go that you would be dead if you did that.
It's just amazing how much chatter there is on this stuff now. And
I know.
You would never see it on legitimate news sources, and now all the time that I'm looking at any of the news networks at ABC or whatever, they are always running UFO stories now. It's crazy.
I mean,
like what has happened in this last year? It's insane.
Imagine how things would change for everybody if aliens legit came down to Earth and they were public.
Yeah.
The whole thing, it's all changed.
I know it all came because of this bill that, tagged on with the pandemic and whatever. That's why we're getting all these stories now, but it is weird. It seems like everything's ramping up to something.
You're not laughed out of the room anymore if you're talking about aliens.
It's got to feel good to not get laughed out of a room, right, Jay Bird?
Nice. It's really nice.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we got the cruise ships going again. The Celebrity Cruises Celebrity Edge cruise ship left Port Everglades on Saturday with 1,100 passengers for a 7-day cruise, stopping at Costa Maya and Cozumel in Mexico, and then Nassau in the Bahamas. They've got a capacity of 2,900, so they're just at 40% capacity when they went. But I think probably the headline in the post-COVID world, 99% of the people on board, passengers and crew, are vaccinated. And apparently the unvaccinated passengers are kind of forced to pay their own testing before, during, and after the cruise. And it just sounds odd. I was just even looking in the chat room, and Toph had said, the cruise I was on was segregated by vaccinated and unvaccinated. There were vaccinated-only events. Unvaccinated people had to sit on the second floor for dining in some of the shows. It was really weird. I mean, I just can't even imagine, honestly, getting on a cruise ship if you're unvaccinated right now, why you would want to, because you really it sounds like you'd be treated like a second-class citizen.
You're kind of pitting two people against each other. It's us and them, us versus them.
Yeah, well, they got the whole ruling that, if you're a passenger on a cruise ship departing from Florida, you're not required to be vaccinated, and Governor DeSantis, he's got that law banning it, and if they do it, it's $5,000 fine per incident for violating his law. So now it just seems like they're, getting it anyway. So it's just kind of odd that, like I said, I just don't know that I would go on a cruise if you're unvaccinated. Would you agree with that, Suits?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think they really want you on board if you're not vaccinated.
They're clearly sending that message, and if you go on board, they probably want me to talk about these stories that you'll be treated like a second-class passenger.
Well, it was interesting reading it because it almost reminds you of the old days when you had like the first class and the second class passengers on board, where they have such specific areas. I was looking through some of the regulations for Royal Caribbean when they're going to be starting up, which they are the owners of the Celebrity ship that just set sail. And it's a lot of the same stuff where they've got a list of one floor of the dining room is for vaccinated only, certain floors of the showroom are for vaccinated only. Then they've got certain shows that you have to see at specific times if you're unvaccinated.
Yeah.
So it is really unique the way they're doing it. And for the most part, it does seem like if you're sailing outside of Florida, or I think Texas is the same way with that vaccine passport rule.
Yeah.
They won't let you on if you're not vaccinated. This is only where you're kind of forced to have unvaccinated passengers on board.
Gosh, you really shine when you talk about these ships and boats, man.
You can just see it. I light up when I start talking about these things.
You're good, man. I feel like I'm watching a TED Talk.
Yeah, so the way it's set up now for Celebrity Cruises, which they're Carnival, or Royal Caribbean. So they said unvaccinated passengers must wear masks at all time. times, they will have designated areas in restaurants, casinos, and theaters, and they'll be subject to additional testing and protocols on board. And it sounds like you have to pay for that cost. So, I mean, they are really making this very uncomfortable. And it is not going to be that fun to me if you're unvaccinated with what you're going to have to go through. You're going to have like, what, designated hours? Like, yeah, come on in. You guys can enjoy the dining room from 1 to 1:15, and then you got to get out.
Basically, that's the way they're doing it. I was really surprised when I read it that way because I just couldn't imagine people being receptive. I mean, if they were angry about being asked if you have a vaccine, being treated differently for not having, it seems like it would make a lot of people angry.
Well, like Marky Mark says in the chat room, and I can honestly say I don't know what's going on when it comes to the vaccination. He's saying if you have the antibodies, why would you need to get vaccinated?
Well, that to me is a discussion that needs to happen more frequently, and nobody wants to address that. And I had that question, but I can't talk about it because people want to yell at you. But
do you get yelled at when because you've brought it up a couple times?
I mean, people do, but like I'd even said today, is that, we need to have this discussion where people can ask questions. I just took the antibody test last week, and I've got the antibodies because I had COVID and I had recovered, and I have 3 articles in my pocket. One of them from Cleveland Clinic saying that if you have the antibodies, it's just as effective as having the vaccine. And so I have that question, but clearly I'm unvaccinated. So even if I show, and I have the paperwork I can get from MD now showing that I have the antibodies, I still, I believe, would be treated like these unvaccinated passengers. And to me, it wouldn't be worthwhile. And I wouldn't do a cruise unless I had the vaccine right now after reading all this stuff.
Good luck with those hate calls, Denny's.
Yeah, people will. People will get so upset at me just saying that, but I don't get it. I just somebody calmly tell me, answer my questions for me.
Well, even our sweet Denny's, he had gotten vaccinated. He put up a video on social media on our KVJ, and it turned into people were.
There's so much hate over it. It's wild. It really is.
Yeah, it really is silly, and I don't. Nobody should have hate for or vaccinated. Whatever you do, you're making your own personal choices for your life. We're all allowed to do that. So it's what you think is right, and there's enough information and stories you can get to try to back up your side, whatever it might be. So you just try to have good conversation, be informed, and make the best decision for whatever your unique circumstances are.
And I do feel for the cruise lines to a certain perspective, because if they have one of those outbreaks after 15 months of being shut down where it's bad on board, it's going to be devastating for the whole industry. So they're trying to protect themselves, and it's kind of a catch-22 here. That's why I really feel like they're almost making these hurdles so that if you aren't vaccinated, you're like, screw it, I'm not going to go, because they are looking to have over 95% vaccinated on board these ships. Mm-hmm. That is their goal. And I think they had 99% that set sail on the celebrity ship.
It seems like that's it. It seems like if you really are into cruising, you're like, look, I will get the vaccine. I want to have it done. And a lot of times it is typically an older population on a lot of cruises, wouldn't you say, Suits?
Depends on the line. If you go with like Royal or Norwegian or Carnival, it's much more family geared. You get a lot of younger people, the more party-like. But other cruise lines, like Celebrity is an older cruise line.
Okay, so these numbers are not shocking then, that 95% would be vaccinated.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
Because it makes more sense if you're an older population to do it. So, yeah, I think people are just trying to figure out what it's going to look like. And I would say that right now, if you are unvaccinated and you're one of those people saying, I'm not going to get the vaccine, you will definitely have a different type of cruise than somebody who has a vaccine.
Absolutely.
I'm sure, too, on that cruise where they had the vaccine and the non-vaccine, I'm sure everyone got along real good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it was
very pleasant.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Right now, the way things are, have your vaccine, because otherwise, if you're unvaccinated, out of Florida, they can't force you to have it, but once you're on the ship, they're going, I'm vaccinated. You're going to go sit over here in this closet, and we'll get you out in 4 hours, and you'll get 10 minutes to eat, and then we'll put you back in. And that's kind of about the way. It doesn't sound like you have full reign of the ship, kind of like the vaccinated people. So it was kind of interesting because somebody said, the celebrity cruise that went out was 99% vaccinated. 1,100 people went. So if you do the math, there was only like 12 people not vaccinated. How uncomfortable for them. Can you imagine what that would have been like being on that ship?
Oh, my gosh.
You're one of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, people will say stuff, too.
Yeah, like I said, I would definitely have the vaccine if I was going to be doing a cruise. Somebody said, what's the latest info on Carnival cruising? Suits, is there any kind of update on that? Because this was a Royal Caribbean that had gone out of Port Canaveral. I know they were talking about when are they all going to get going. Do you have launch dates for everybody else? So they formalize what that's going to be? Because people said they have some cruises coming up and they're just curious.
Yeah, that's the big thing. People are wondering what they're going to do with their upcoming cruises. Now, Carnival has said they intend to restart coming up here in August out of Florida. So if they do that, I don't know what their position is yet on if you're unvaccinated on board, how the experience is going to be, if they're going to do something similar to Royal or not. But if they're sailing from Florida, it's going to be the same situation. They've already said they're not going to require the vaccination on board, and they really can't in this state anyway.
Right.
But I would look for August for some of those ships to restart. They've canceled some cruises through next year because they're moving the ships around and putting them into different places to try and fill the void. Because a lot of these ships, they've got no crew on board. They've got to first get them on board. They've got to get them back to the States and position them. So there's still a lot of moving around with cruises being changed and canceled. But I would expect by, the start of next year, everything's going to kind of start getting back to normal for them.
Okay. All right. Well, interesting stuff. Thank you very much, Suits.
Oh, no problem.
People that have that question. Somebody had said, if you have the antibodies versus the vaccine, somebody had said that with the disease, the first time your body creates antibodies, there normally aren't a strong memory response, so you could possibly get it again, and then you'd have an even higher response to immunity the second time you've had the COVID. I know there's a lot of interesting situations, people that have had the vaccine that still get it, and you can. Did you hear about North Carolina State and the College World Series over the weekend?
What happened?
They were the big Cinderella team. They had knocked off Arkansas. There was the number 1 seed, and they had Vanderbilt, who was the reigning national champs, on the ropes. Vanderbilt was going to have to beat them twice. And they had 6 players, I think, that tested positive for COVID. 4 of them had already had the vaccine, and they made them quit the tournament.
Oh, my gosh.
Season
That
over.
sucks.
And they hadn't been in the College World Series in forever.
They were vaccinated, and they still got COVID?
Yeah, 4 of them.
What the hell's going on with that?
Yeah, so they were out of the tournament because
That's
of
rough,
that.
man.
Yeah, a lot of people said that's just a tough break. So there's still some goofy stories going on.
It's more of the KVJ Show right now on 97.9 WRMF.
We're talking about that first cruise ship that left Florida on Saturday from Port Canaveral. Pretty much anybody who's on board has got the vaccine, but some of the stories about what it is like for people who have the vaccine and don't on the cruise ship, there's definitely a lot more stuff that you can do, and you have more privilege if you have the vaccine. And so, yeah, the question is up, for somebody like me that I just tested last week for the antibodies and have got those, that what is the difference between that and the vaccination? Somebody said the immune response after having the disease isn't as strong as the defensive response that occurs after the vaccination. And they also note that people who've had COVID-19 can still contract and transmit the coronavirus more easily if they haven't been vaccinated. So I know that vaxxed and non-vaxxed still can spread it. But I guess my question is, has anybody heard of a number? What is that number? How more easily can you spread it if you have the antibodies but not the vaccine versus somebody that hasn't? I have not yet seen that number.
I can throw and make up a number, just throw it out there.
Why not? I think everybody else has made up numbers during this whole thing. I don't know if I believed any number I've seen during this whole pandemic.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to answer a couple questions going through this. But the one thing you're definitely starting to see is people are getting out there more. There is a different standard of living for the vaccinated versus the ones who are unvaccinated. So, and a lot of these places don't make any apologies about it. So, well, it'll be interesting to see where things continue to go here in the next couple of weeks and months. After the Show podcast going to be coming up here. You can watch it live on YouTube. Just go for the KVJ Show and you'll find it right there. You can also get it on demand anytime that you want. Virginia had to go and be with her family. Her stepmom in Kentucky had passed, so she's not with us today or tomorrow. She'll be back with us on Wednesday. So, Jaybird, you got a free room, nothing but love and positivity here for you to deliver your thought.
Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced.
Oh, man, I love how you flip that around like that. Boom. Making you think.
The KVJ Show on 97.9